need to understand why people can be so easily manipulated, so easily to believe what people are telling them, so easily that they are in a cult and they're not even aware that they're in a cult. It's just mind-boggling to me that people can be easily manipulated and being used. And I have to say, words are very powerful. By the way, you guys, words are very powerful. People can say the craziest things and people will believe you if the right word that they're using. For example, if people mention the Bible or mention a scripture in the Bible, they twisted it in their own, for their own advantage to convince someone else that this is what the Bible actually is saying. It's from the Word of God. It's from God. When all reality, it's not from God. They're just twisting it for their own reasons, for their own demise, and it's just very sickening and cruel. And like I said in my the short video that I did last week, and about the documentary that I watched on Netflix, that released on Netflix released a documentary for 1 hour, 41 minutes long about Jodi Hildebrandt, focusing on her running a cult, okay? And how she was just a big influencer in Utah. And as everyone know, Utah, they're mostly famous, for the Mormons and the Church of Latter-day Saint. And it's a big community. It's all about family and love and being Mormon and among other things. And Salt Lake City, there's a lot of things to do there. But when watching this documentary and discovering what's been what has happened, it's just mind-boggling. It's very sad. It's very sick that you have these two evil people. You have Jodi and Ruby Frankie. Okay, these two women can think that it's okay to abuse children. Jodi to the left, to my right, excuse me, and you have Ruby Frankie to my left. And you have this woman influence Rudy for her to abuse her children. That what she's doing is a good thing. It's good parenting. And there's no rule book how to be the parent. All you can do as a parent is do your best and be loving, be nurturing, obviously discipline your child, teach your children from right from wrong, have them have structure, discipline in life, making sure that you do the best that you can so they are ready out there in the real world. You teach them that, you nurture them. If they misbehave, you punish them within reason. You don't abuse them, shave their head, duct tape their wrists, their ankle, bound them, handcuff them, starve them to death, because that's your method of parenting. And that's what this woman, Jodi, was instilling in this woman, Rudy, okay? Which is very sick and demise, and it's just awful. And watching that documentary really broke me. It really broke my heart that this 12-year-old boy escaped from that Jodi's home, okay, walking in the middle of the desert, 100 degrees with no shoes, okay, going to neighbor until finally he reached to a third neighbor, because the two neighbors that he rang the doorbell, they didn't answer, so apparently they wasn't home. Luckily, the third house, someone answered. And they realized, looking at this boy, he was very thin, very malnourished, very scrawny, had duct tape all over him, okay? And he asked the gentleman, the neighbor, to call the police. And this is a brave, brave little boy, okay, brave. That he escaped from where he was, held against his will, bound, okay, with duct tape, handcuff, rope, tortured, okay, to escape from that abuse from Jodi. So basically, this woman, Rudy, okay, gave two of her younger children to this woman to teach them a lesson, to discipline them. How can anyone do that? How can anyone give another a therapist, and she's a therapist, life coach, you're your child, to reprimand them when they're not even her children? You're the mother, and she just actually did that. You know why? Because she was brainwashed. She believed in her sick, twisted mind what Jodi was telling her was the right thing to do. It was the right parenting, because apparently she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handling her children. So I want to read to you the case summary of this really quickly. Rudy Franke was one best known as her popular YouTube channel, which she documented family life with her husband, 6 children. So she was a famous YouTube blogger. Okay, and basically it's called The 8 Passengers. So it's 6 of her children, including her and her husband Kevin. So basically, it was them, the family, doing their day-to-day activities and doing stuff that family typically do on a day-to-day. And then it was in Utah. So it resonated with a lot of people. People can relate to a mother, Rudy, loving her children, spending time with them, doing family gatherings and stuff together. And it really hit a lot of views. She had like 2.5 million followers, over a billion views, and it was going great. You know what I mean? It was going great, that to the point that sponsors were reaching out to her. You know what I mean? So that's how, popular this channel was. I never heard of this channel ever until I watched that documentary. Then I had to go back and Google it up, and sure enough, it was a really, really popular YouTube channel. And when I was watching it, it was a different Rudy. Okay, she was very kind, nurturing. Obviously, at that time, Jodi was not in the picture, and it would tell you that in the documentary. So definitely check the documentary out. And again, the documentary is called "The Evil Influencer: The Story of Jodi Hildebrandt." And it's like when you watch The 8 Passengers with Rudy Franke and what she has become now, is 2 different people. Like, this woman was definitely brainwashed by Jodi, brainwashed completely. 2 different person, okay? So obviously the show went well, and it seemed like, Jodi catch on to it, and she really liked her show, and that's how she reached out, and that's how they connected with one another, because they were business partners. And the business that they started together was connections, basically helping, young marriage couples and young people to, basically to save their marriage, and, to form a group of people who has addiction. So they came together and worked together as partnership to build this brand back in 2021. And also they did a podcast as well. Which Jodi, she built a brand. I have to say, she was good at building a brand, and starting this program of the connection, and plus she was a life coach as well, and for to build a life coach with to support groups of young married couples. And then the summary continues to say, on December 18, 2023. However, she pleaded guilty for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. On December 27, 2023, Jodi Hildebrandt, a licensed therapist who ran an online self-improvement program with Mrs. Franke, also pleaded guilty for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. 4 months later, the women were arrested after Mrs. Franke's 12-year-old son climbed out of the window of Mrs. Hildebrandt's residence in Utah, ran out to a neighbor home, like I just mentioned, and asked for help. The neighbor observed duct tape on the boy, ankles and wrists, severe wounds, and malnutrition. He He quickly contacted law enforcement, who, upon arrival, learned that potential more children remained inside Mrs. Hildebrandt home and in harm's way. So basically, they had 6 children. Like I said, two of their children, Kevin and Rudy. They were adults, and they moved out of the house. They had no contact with their parents, especially Rudy, because Rudy was she was very abusive to her oldest son, Kevin. Okay. Then they had 4 other minor children. So 2 children were with Jodi, and the other 2 with Rudy. Okay. So basically, Jodi was abusing these 2 children, starving them to death, handcuffing them, okay, and they had wounds all over them. And then she put some type of paste. I know I wrote this down, so give me 1 second to make sure that I mention this correctly. Which I will show you footage of the video. Let's see. I'm sorry, you guys. I am prepared. I just want to make sure that I got the information correctly. Okay, so they put the boy had paste mixture on his wounds, and then they duct taped it, okay, to his flesh, which absolutely is just heartbreaking to see. I'm going to show you images. The child's face, the 12-year-old boy, is blurred out because he is a minor. And, we have to respect his privacy. But I'm going to show you an image, and viewer discretion advised. Some of the images are it's heartbreaking. So I just want to embrace you for that. So this is the 12-year-old boy in the ambulance, and they're seeking medical care for this young boy. So as you can see, just looking at him, he hasn't been fed for days. He looks very thin, very scrawny. You can see some wounds on his leg, and it's blurred out, and on his wrist as well. And in the next photo that I'm going to show you, you can see the duct tape, okay, on his wrist. And they put some, red paste mixture on him to cover the wounds with the duct tape, which is utterly abusive and absolutely disturbing and wrong. Another footage on his ankles, as you can see. And then according to the documentary, when they were removing the duct tape and everything, they can smell the actual flesh. And one of the paramedics, the woman, said, "This is heartbreaking." And when I saw that, I just burst into tears. I'm like, how can a human being who said she loves children, that you can do that to a child? You can absolutely do that to the child. And it's just sick, and it's just heartbreaking. And I want you to take a listen to a TikToker influencer had her thoughts about this documentary and about Jodi as well. So take a listen to one of the TikTok influencers had to say about this.
Cocker spaniel ass in this house while this thin-lipped water bug tortured your kids?
We had evidence that the adults were aware of the injuries and taking steps to, I'm not going to say treat because I think that's too nice, but taking steps to address the injuries. And it was clear that they had been tortured. We could see that. We could see the injuries on them. We could see the malnourishment. Sorry, some of these things are hard to talk about.
As a mom, it's completely disheartening. I've never seen abuse on this level.
What are we talking about? Religious psychosis gotta let some of y'all go. And I know that TikTok learn a word and repeatedly say it over and over again and not really know what it means, but that's what this documentary is. I remember in 2023 when the video footage of that little boy run into the neighbor's house and he had the duct tape around his little wrist and ankles came out, but nothing could have prepared me for the dastardly details of what went on, how this lady really manipulated therapy and religion in a way to not only invade people's houses and take over them, but to come in this lady life, kick the lady husband out, and then torture her kids. Huh? What are we talking about? Like, at what point do we start whooping ass? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm talking about rope burns on the little boy's wrist. They then were putting cayenne pepper and honey on the rope burns, wrapping that in saran wrap, and then duct taping his wrist. Mind you, the lady has 6 kids. Child.
So yeah, I'm like, I'm beside myself. Okay, I am furious. I am pissed off that this was allowed. This can actually happen. You know what I mean? A licensed therapist slash life coach thinking that this is okay. You know what I mean? And this woman is absolutely right. Like, she had this how twisted this woman is. She convinced Rudy that her husband got to go, like kick her husband out. You know what I mean? Like, how unethical is that? You know what I mean? That she brainwashed this woman for this woman to kick her husband out, so her husband could be out of the way, so she can take full control of her and the 4 other children. The 4 other children, and it's just sickening, and it's just, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that they allowed this to happen, because I know there were multiple people complain about Jodi. And because it's the state of Utah, because it's all family oriented, and then there should be structure when it comes to the household. There should be structure of discipline a child. I'm sorry. This is not discipline. This is actually abuse, child abuse. No one who does this, who duct tapes a child's wrist and put cayenne pepper and honey on the wound, and handcuff a child and bound the child and not feed the child, starve the child to death. The kid was skin and bones, okay, that had to jump out of a window to escape because he knew what was going on, and he had to leave his sister behind to get help. How is that okay? How is that some people can be so easily manipulated, so easily, brainwashed to say, you know what, your child is the devil and they need to be corrected. They need you, in order to release the devil inside your child, you have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to abuse your child. You have to starve your child. You have to lock up your child so they can be disciplined. That's the way to discipline. And I don't understand how someone can comprehend and thinking that that's okay. Like, yeah, you're right. I should do that to my child. I should starve my child to death to release the demons. You're right, Jodi. How come I didn't think of that? Like, really? Like, get serious here. And that's how stupid this woman was, Rudy. I'm sorry. She was dumb and naive to believe this foolishness, to believe Jodi because she was a licensed therapist and a life coach. Everything that woman did was unethical, okay? Unethical. How she ruined marriages, how she convinced men and women that their husband were addicted to porn, addicted to sex, where there was no evidence in that fact, because she had issues of her own growing up. So basically, when she had issues of her own and struggling, she implemented that to other people. It's just sick and demented. The words that she used to convince people that they have a problem when they clearly did not have a problem, you guys. She's the one who had a problem. And clearly her daughter even said that too. Even her daughter wrote a book. It's just weird that people can actually believe what people are saying and use the Bible, use Jesus. Like Jesus, like saying that Jesus is my mouthpiece. Like Jesus spoke to me for me to tell you that your child is evil. That what we need to do is to abuse your child. We have to do every means necessary to do this, which is utterly wrong. So I'm going to have you listen to this 911 call, and this is about the young 12-year-old boy, and this was on August 30th, 2023 at 10:46 a.m. A 12-year-old boy showed up at a neighbor's house, and when the neighbor, this gentleman, saw this boy, and he called 911, he was just heartbroken to the point that he burst out into tears on the phone, because what he witnessed was very disturbing. What he witnessed, and he told the 911 dispatcher that this kid was severely abused and he was held against his will. So take a listen to this 911 call really quickly. Just Going to pull it out, pull it for you. There you go.
Okay, and the phone number you're calling from. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
Is your door locked?
No, I'm sitting outside with him on the front patio.
Okay, cool.
And he asked us to call the police.
What's
So
your
he's
name?
very afraid. What's your last name? He's 12 years old. Yes.
Okay, and can you ask him his date of birth?
Can you tell me your birthday?
Okay, and are the neighbors out of their home, or is anybody looking for them that you can see?
No. Our homes are far enough away. I'm not sure. How did you get out of the house?
Porch. He went out.
He says you just left through the porch at the neighbor's house. Her name is Jodi Hildebrandt, and she lives 2 doors up the street.
Out here in Cayenne, the houses are far apart.
Yeah, out here in Cayenne, the houses are far apart, so he walked just under a block to get to our house. He rang my doorbell and asked me to call the police.
Does he seem to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
I don't think so, but he's very thirsty, and
Need an ambulance?
I don't think he needs an ambulance. I'll let the cops decide that, but his ankles are taped up, and he won't tell us why.
Okay.
But he has duct tape around each ankle. Yeah, there's sores around them. I think there's a good chance he's been... Oh, and he has them around his ankles. I mean, his wrists as well. Okay, this boy has been... He needs... This kid has obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Okay. Let's get the paramedics headed over that way, okay?
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Let's see. Has he told you where his mom or dad are?
Haven't asked him that. Yeah. You know where your mommy and... Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't matter, son. Do you know where your mom and dad are?
Well, actually, I don't know where my mom is, but I do know where my dad is. He's not anywhere here.
Really don't know.
Nowhere.
Okay. No, he doesn't seem to. He says he knows where his mom is, but...
He doesn't know where his dad is.
That's correct.
I do know where my dad is.
Is his mom home?
He doesn't live.
He just says he doesn't live around here.
Okay. Is his
Yeah,
mom
we're
in
getting...
the area?
Is your mom around here? Have you seen her lately? He doesn't know where she is right now.
Does he know his mom's name?
What's your mom's name? Ruby Frankie? Ruby Frankie is his mom's name.
Okay. How do you spell the last name?
F-R-A-N-K-E.
F-R-A-N-K-E.
Okay. And does she live in the area?
No, I'm not sure where she lives.
So basically, before I continue on, the 2 children of Rudy, okay, were with Jodi, okay? The other 2 children, their siblings, were at Springfield, Utah, over a friend and family's home, okay? So basically, they were split apart. So They had 6 children altogether. 2 are grown, out of the house. The other 4 are minors. 2 with Jodi that she was abusing. The other 2 were at a friend and family that God knows what she was doing with the other 2 children. Okay, I believe, and it says it in the documentary, that they were planning on leaving. Okay, if cops got the wind of them abusing their children, that they were going to pack up because there were duffel bags all over her home in Springfield, Utah, and it's not Springfield, Springville, excuse me, correct myself, in Utah, and they were going to pack up and leave. And apparently, according to Rudy's diary or notebook, that if the children misbehaved, that they had a plan to bury their body somewhere. So things were set in motion, things were set in motion that they were going to dispose these children. Okay. And it's just sick and demented that in order to discipline them or in order to teach them a lesson is to kill them, to starve them, literally, as you can hear in this 911 call by the neighbor. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm disgusted. Some women should not be parents, okay? There should be laws in Utah, you know what I mean? Children never asked to be on video, on a blogger video on YouTube, okay? Children don't have a say, unfortunately, okay? And you have some of these parents who are trying to be famous, trying to make money, to exploit their children when the kids don't have a say. And I think that's wrong. I think that it's just not right. I feel like once your child is an adult and understands and comprehend what's going on, then they should have a say if they want to be on video. And some kids do. They think it's fun and cool. And sometimes some kids don't think it's cool. They want to just be kids. They want to hang out with their friends. They want to play like normal kids do. They don't want to be on front of a camera 24/7 and recording. And that's what Rudy was doing. Her older son didn't want to do that anymore. And then she just kept pressuring him and forcing him to be in front of the camera when he didn't want to. You know why? Because she liked the sponsors. The sponsors were paying her big money to film. And the older son was not feeling it. He didn't want to do it anymore. It was just not fun for him. And you have most parents force their child to do this. And it's wrong. They should pass laws for that. Okay, they're trying to enslave their children to be on film and videotape them and do bloggers and all that stuff when they don't want to. Some of them don't even have a say. Some of them are forced to do it because parents convince their child, it's cool. Don't you want to be in front of the camera? People are going to love you. It's fun, blah, blah, blah. And then, children, they're so pleasing, you know what I mean? They will do anything for their parents, you know what I mean? They don't want to say no. They don't want to disappoint, you know what I mean? So obviously they do it, even though they don't want to. And it's just wrong for parents to do that, you know what I mean? Like if they want to be on a camera and do their YouTube channels or do bloggers and stuff like that, they should do it because they're an adult. I don't think you should force your child to do something because it's going to benefit you. Okay, if it's going to benefit the child and then you're using that money to put money away to college or whatever, that's one thing. But to do it for your own benefit because you're just trying to get popular, because you're just trying to get views and followers, that's just wrong. Basically, you enslaving your child. Okay, that's like sex trafficking, basically. That's sex trafficking. I'm sorry to say that is. What parents are doing to their kids, especially that woman, Rudy, she's basically exploiting her children. Basically sex trafficking. You're getting paid to have your children in front of the camera, in front of the world, and half of them don't even want to do that. And you force them, you threaten them, make it seem like they're the bad child when you were the bad parent all this time.
He's trying to help us, but he's...
That's okay. We don't want to stress him out too much. The officers will go over all these questions with him anyway. I just want to stay on the phone with you until we get some help there, okay?
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name is...
Can you ask him if any other children were in the home he came from?
Okay. Was there any other kids up at Jodi's house?
Besides,
Anybody else? No. How were?
I don't see anything to say.
Yeah, this is the 30th of, or excuse me, the 29th of August.
It'll be the 30th of August.
Days.
10 and 14, and they're still at this house.
Are they tied up as well?
What's the deal with? Are they being held? Do they have wounds on them as well?
Nothing bad going on with us.
Okay.
It's just me.
Okay. So they're able to walk around the house and everything.
Everything.
Well, okay. He says everything's fine with them. Grain of salt.
Okay.
He says what's happened to him is his fault.
And that's what's upsetting to me. That this woman, Jodi, brainwashed this 12-year-old boy, making him believe that it was his fault that he had all these wounds. It's his fault that he wasn't fed. It was his fault for everything. How cruel and evil is that? To blame a child, a 12-year-old boy, that it is his fault. Manipulating that boy. It's just evil. She's an evil person. And then the mother too. Evil. To allow this to happen. Can you imagine this 12-year-old at that time thinking that this is his fault? That if he would have done better, then this would have happened to him or his sister. And I'm saying it's not his fault. Obviously, he knows that now because he's with his father. Thank God. Kevin. But at the time, this young 12-year-old boy actually believed that this was his fault, that he deserved this. And he did not deserve this. He did not deserve to be starved to death. He did not deserve to be handcuffed and bound with rope and duct tape with honey and cayenne pepper and stuff like that. He didn't deserve that. No child deserved to be abused like that. And to manipulate that 12-year-old boy and his sister, saying that that's his fault. That's how sick these people are when they start a cult. They convince these people that this is the way. This is the way to do it. They manipulate you. They isolate you from your friends and family. They make it seem like you are, that they're in control. That's what they do. That's what cults do. It's all about control, isolation, brainwashing, gaslighting for their own benefit, not for them. Because what happened to their sick childhood, and then they're trying to stem that, whatever happened to her childhood, it's stemming on them, which is so wrong and twisted and demented, by the way. But let's finish taking a listen to the 911 call.
That's sad to hear. They're coming to you as quick as they can, okay?
Okay,
You're
yeah.
doing really well.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
He's fine. I've got him sitting here. My wife, he got him water and giving him something to eat because he's hungry and I think the young man, he's hearing his stocking feet. So he escaped.
I'm glad that he was able to make it.
They're on their way.
They should just be pulling up now. Let me know when they're with you, okay?
Will do. I hear a car, but they're not coming on the driveway. You did good. Enjoy that banana, okay?
Yeah, he just
did the right
a few
thing.
seconds ago.
So I'm happy that that neighbor was there because the little boy knocked in two homes and there was no one there. So thank God that someone was home that day on August 30th. August 30th, let me just remember August 30th, that someone was at that home and answered. Because can you imagine just walking in the middle of the desert, 100 degrees weather with no shoes, haven't had any water, food, not knowing if anyone is going to help you, and you walking in the middle of the desert, going to one neighbor, one home after another, and luckily someone did answer. Just imagine that, just picture that, a child, a 12-year-old boy or girl, and that's what happened to him. And I'm going to show you a footage of minutes after Ruby's son escaped, that he actually went to the third neighbor's home and asked for help. So take a look at this.
After 12-year-old Russell escaped from Jodi Hildebrandt's house back in August 2023. He was kept tied up in Jodi's house along with his sister, and after he escaped, he ran to this neighbor's home to get some help. He had cuts and sores on his wrists and ankles. I can't help but notice how skinny and frail he looks.
But he has duct tape around each
Injuries, there's swords around them.
So after this man got off the phone with police then went to Jodi's house to look for another one of Ruby's children, and they arrested Jodi, and this is how it went.
So which I'm going to show you right now, the full video of the cops went to Jodi's home. They did have a search warrant, and because apparently the boy, the 12-year-old boy, told the paramedics and law enforcement that his sister was at that home. So that's why they got the search warrant very quickly, and they went to Jodi's home to retrieve that the child. So take a listen.
Jodi, I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step out of the
house.
house. Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna see.
Whoa.
You're gonna be off phone.
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
Right there.
They go into my house.
Just have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right
Do you
there.
have a
Yes,
search
they
Have
do.
a
warrant?
seat right there. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12x11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Okay. Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am.
As you can see, she's very frantic because she knows what she was doing. She knows she held two children against their will, obviously, because they're young. They don't know what to do. She starved them to death, handcuffed them, tied them up with ropes and duct taped their wrists and hands, and she shaved the little girl's head. And the cops assumed that it was a boy, but later on they realized it was a girl. She was sitting in a closet, just still, not moving, not really saying anything to the police officer, but the police officer was very nice and kind and gentle to the little girl, and she seemed very afraid and nervous to speak, but eventually she does say something during this video, so we're going to continue on.
Okay. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here. So we'll explain after everything's done, after we clear the house and make sure everything's fine in there.
But why are you coming into my house without a
We'll
search warrant?
explain it after this.
But that doesn't make sense. You come into my house and do what you want, and then you tell me you don't have a
No, we'll
warrant?
explain why we did.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't. We're here on exigent circumstances. And I'll explain it after this, after my sergeant and the officer are done clearing the house.
Look at her nervous, as she should be. Despicable, disgrace. Human being.
Is there anybody else in the house?
Yes.
2 kids?
There's a little girl.
Just one?
She's right over here.
Okay. How old is she?
She'll be 10 next week.
Okay. And she's on this side?
I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared me to death.
Okay. And they're on this side of the house then?
They're right over there. She's over here.
Can you get through the house that way?
Yes, they just have to go right there.
There's no other kids besides her?
No.
What's her name?
So there you have it with that. But I want to show you an image of this safe. Okay, this is inside Jodi Hildebrandt's house of horror. And I wish I had pictures inside, because before the cops arrived to her home, she was hiding the evidence, you know, with duct tape, the rope, the handcuffs, the honey, the pepper, and all that stuff that she was putting on the children's wounds. Now, when the police officer asked her the code, she was playing dumb and stupid, saying that she didn't know the passcode, which clearly she did, but she didn't want to release that information to the law enforcement. So when the law enforcement went back and he took a crack at it, sure enough, the code was 12345, and it opened. And sure enough, when he opened it, he noticed incriminal things. Okay, incriminal things of inside the thing. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the. If I can. If I can't, no worries. It's just fine. I just want to see really quickly if I can pull up the. Sorry, pull up the thing. But if I can't, it's fine. But you get the gist of it. You know what I mean? That they found a lot of incriminated things that they shouldn't have seen, but they did. And she was trying to cover her track, which it backfired on her. So basically, once the 8 passengers were canceled, they started a new podcast called Moms of Truth. Basically, in a nutshell, is trying to teach your parents how to be harsh parenting, how to discipline your child very harsh and abusively. Basically, this podcast is, and basically this program that Jodi convinced people and you know, parents and people that are married to do it her way, if that makes sense. So basically, God was like speaking to Jodi, and Jodi was like telling these married couples that your husband has an addiction problem, like sex addiction, been watching porn and all that stuff, and basically framing it as religion content. If I'm saying this correctly by when I was watching the documentary, and all of it was just manipulation. Okay. Now the thing I don't understand is the married couples, and again, I just want to make this very clear. It's not me bashing these people that were abused by Jodi or abused of her influence. I just don't understand, if your husband, again, I wasn't there. If your husband doesn't have any sexual addictions or anything of that sort, why are you listening to this life coach or therapist? Why would you listen if you don't? Again, I don't know what the wife is telling Jodi. I have no idea, but it's just odd to me that every client that Jodi had in the past, the same result come up with addiction, sexual addiction, nothing else. And I found that very odd to me watching that documentary, and what the her old clients, when they came forward and gave their side of the story, that every time is an addiction. So I thought that was very weird and very odd to me, that it's all about addiction. So it's something that happened to Jodi during her childhood, during her marriage that was not that didn't work out. Some type of sexual deviance. I don't know what it is that she instilled it to these married couples, which is very weird and disturbing to me. Again, she shouldn't have been a licensed therapist. And by the way, her licensed therapist was under review. It was pending because I'm going to tell you right now that it was on probation. Okay, because apparently she violated HIPAA. So apparently she found out with one of her clients that he was watching porn and he was doing some other stuff, and then she reported it to this gentleman, college campus, his professor, whatever, and that's a no-no. Okay, when you're a therapist or a licensed doctor or whatever, you don't violate HIPAA violation. Okay, which she did. Okay, so that, and then people are wondering, well, how did she get away by doing counseling to other people? Well, she was a life coach as well. So she knew that her license was in probation and she couldn't do anything with her license, obviously, because it was still under review and they were still investigating of her HIPAA violation. So instead, she did the life coach, and that's how she branded this podcast called Moms of Truth. That's how she made millions off of people by her books, by her programs, by people paying her programs, by her manipulating and brainwashing all of her clients. Okay, that's how she made her money. Okay, she did excellent branding, by the way, with her videos and her what you call it, her not speech, her motivation speech and all that stuff. She was good at that, but then there was a twisted thing behind it in her sick brain of hers, okay, to manipulate people, to isolate people, to basically have these couples get a divorce and not see their spouse. That's basically what she did. And for her to have mothers and parents to abuse their child, because that was the right thing to do, because God told her that that's how you should parent. Isn't that something? Isn't that crazy? God told her this. And that's what really sickens me, that these sick individuals have to put God into this. Okay, I just don't understand how some people they lack of common sense. Okay, it doesn't say in the scriptures to harm your child. It doesn't say in the scriptures to starve your child. It doesn't say in the scriptures to handcuff your child. Okay, it doesn't say none of that. And for someone, this is why I'm still trying to comprehend this, you guys, that someone as an active member in a church and believe in God, they can actually believe this foolishness that people are telling them. That's the thing I don't understand. If you know your Bible from left and right, and you know it, you know the scriptures, you know the Bible, and someone's telling you that this is what you need to do because the Bible is saying, because the Bible said that, and you thinking in your mind, that's not what the Bible actually says, and you believe what that person is telling you, knowing that you know what the person's telling you is wrong, and what you're reading in the Bible doesn't comprehend what is, why people believe it then? Why people fall for it? That's the thing I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry, no one can brainwash me. No one can manipulate me or the Bible, and you're trying to convince me, well, that's what the Bible said. No, because I'm going to correct you, and this is what the Bible says. That's your interpretation of it. You're twisting it. Okay? God says don't do harm on anyone. Okay? So that's the thing I don't understand, why people actually believe these disgusting, evil people who's running a cult and using the Bible, and the people who knows the Bible very well, they actually believe what they're saying. That's the thing I don't understand. That's why I'm trying to wrap my brain around it, how people can be so naive and be so convinced what the other person is telling them about a scripture, when actually the scripture is not saying that. That's what I'm trying to understand. And again, I'm not blaming these victims. I'm just trying to understand, how can they believe people like Jodi, who used the scriptures and twisted it for their own personal gain, when the scripture actually did not say that. That's what I'm trying to understand. I don't understand how people can be so manipulated and so convinced that. Because I would not be convinced. I'm sorry. I will not let anyone gaslight me or manipulate me or tell me this is what the Bible says. Like, no, I'm going to question it and I'm going to fight you on it. And you have to answer my question. Where does it say that in the scripture? Because clearly it does not say that in the scripture. Get out of my face. Okay, you're dealing with something demonic, and I don't want that around me. Like I would listen to anyone how to parent my child. Like get serious here. Like I don't get it. Like and what Jodi did too was such a violation. She was the parents. She was Jodi. Excuse me. She was Rudy and Kevin's therapist. She was a children's therapist. On top of that, she moved in to Rudy and Kevin's house. Like what the hell? Because she believed that there was demons in her and that she needed help. You seek your own therapist. Again, weird violation. What therapists do that? What therapists live with their client's house? And that's what Jodi did. It's disturbing. It's so unprofessional, okay? And on top of that, what's weird about this is that once Jodi moved in to Rudy and Kevin's house, Kevin couldn't, the husband, because you probably would ask him, where's Kevin fit into this? Well, I'm going to tell you right now where Kevin fit into this. So when Jodi moved in to the house, and this was her plan, I don't believe that she had any demons or anything in her. I believe that she was plotting to remove Kevin from the house. So she removed Kevin to remove Kevin from the house. So Judy can be isolated away from her husband. That was Jodi's plan all this time, to isolate Rudy and the children away from Kevin. Okay, and what they did was when Jodi moved into their house, Kevin couldn't go in certain areas. Okay, he couldn't go in the kitchen while Jodi was there. He got kicked out of his own bedroom. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Let me tell you something. If someone did that to my husband, and a therapist told my husband, by the way, you cannot go to your wife's bedroom. You have to go to the family room or the den. My husband would say, get the F out of my house, or I'm calling the police. Okay? That's what a man should do. You're the man of the house, and you allow this therapist to tell you how to run your own household. Make it make sense. That make no sense. That's what I don't understand about Utah. It's like, don't get me wrong. I heard Utah is a very nice state. People are very wonderful, but they're so naive. Like they have to, I don't know what it is in Utah that you have to comply what people say or do. And it seemed like that's what Kevin did, because I guess he was being nice because that was his therapist. But and again, I'm not judging Kevin, but I would love to know in his mind what he was thinking, if that was appropriate for his own therapist, Jodi, to move in. And back in his mind, he probably thought that this was inappropriate and this doesn't seem right. But again, he was listening to his wife, and he was being respectful toward his wife. And that's why he allowed this. But I'm sorry, a man of a household should not allow a therapist to move into your home. That's just weird. That's just unprofessional. You know what I mean? And I believe Kevin should have stood up and said, no, I'm the man of the house. You cannot move into our house. Okay, that's just a no-no. That's just a violation. That's just weird. That's what Kevin should have done. But he didn't do that. So he allowed this evil creature, okay, Jodi, to move in, and she did. And she stayed in their bedroom with Judy. Now, I don't know what the relationship would be between those two, because that's weird. Maybe they fell in love. Maybe Jodi was a lesbian. I don't know. But that's what her daughter's claiming, that they were a lesbian, that her and Judy had some type of relationship, because their relationship were very close, very tight-knit. And then sure enough, Rudy, am I saying Judy? I've been saying Judy this whole time. Rudy, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Rudy. I'm saying Judy. Forgive me, you guys. Rudy told her husband, Kevin, you got to go. You have to leave. We need to separate. And sure enough, Kevin, he did, because Jodi told Kevin that he has some type of addiction. You see the pattern? Addiction. So in order for you to save your family and to protect your family, you have to go. You have to leave and move out, because you have some type of addiction, and we don't want that addiction to be near the children. We don't want the addiction to be near your wife. So Rudy told Kevin, her husband, you have to go. And sure enough, he left. He left because he believed Jodi's bullshit. Now, any man, and I'm not saying Kevin's not a real man, but Kevin was very brainwashed and he was very foolish. Any man in the household would say, get the F out of my house, or I'm calling the police. Okay? I'm not buying your bullshit narrative. Okay? But Kevin didn't say that. He didn't. So for a year, he did not see his children. For a year, he did not see his wife. So Jodi's plan was accomplished. She got what she wanted. She removed Kevin from the home, isolated Kevin from his children and his wife, and Kevin had no idea what was going on with his four children. No idea until that incident happened on August 30th of 2023. The cops took him into the precinct, and when the cops told him what happened, you should have seen his face in the interview. He was petrified. He was just lost. He couldn't believe that this actually happened to his four children. Okay, and he even told the law enforcement that he hadn't seen his children over a year. So then they ruled him out as a suspect because what he said, they confirmed that he wasn't around. He had no idea that this was going on. He had no idea these two evil women were abusing their children. Okay, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy that people can actually use words, okay? Use words to influence other people. It's just amazing to me, okay? You can say some type of words, some special hocus pocus. You can use some Bible scriptures, and then boom, you just convince people. You just brainwash them like a cult. It's just unbelievable. It really is. And people need to recognize the red flags. They need to recognize when you're being sucked into a cult, okay? When they're trying to isolate you from your friends and family, when they're trying to tell you that you have a problem, and clearly you do not have a problem, when they're trying to control you, manipulate you, all that stuff, that's a sign. And when you see those signs, that's a sign to get the F out. Remove yourself from that person, okay? That's a sign. But then they don't realize it until they're in it. And then once they're in it, it's so hard to get them out because they're so brainwashed that they can't see from reality. Okay? They lost touch of reality. And that's what happened to Rudy. Hello. Thank you for joining my live. Thank you. How are you doing? So they have touched out of reality, and that's what happened to Rudy. And I kept saying Judy. I am so sorry, you guys. Rudy. Okay, she got lost in reality, and that's what happened when you're in a cult. When you're in a cult, and when you are so far in, it's hard to try to convince that person that's in the cult that what that individual is doing to you is wrong. It's hard to do. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important to recognize the red flags right away. Okay, because like I said, when I watched that 8-passenger video, she wasn't like this with her kids. She wasn't like this at all until she met Jodi, and Jodi influenced her to say, well, your children are out of hand. Your children have been possessed. So therefore, you got to do some extreme measures to abuse your kids. Shave their heads, starve them, beat them, punish them. And that's not the way to do it, okay? Children are a precious gift from God. And I don't know how many times I have to say that. They're a gift, okay? They're not your possession. They're not slave. They're a gift from God. You know how many women who cannot have children? You know how many women are trying to get pregnant, including me? And when I see stuff like this, it pisses me off. It really does. Because I'm working. Well, my husband and I are working so hard to get pregnant, and we can't. And we're struggling. But I trust in my Lord and Savior that He will get us there. He will get us pregnant. But it really pissed me off. You have a woman like that who has 6 beautiful children. 6 beautiful children. You can do that to your children. You can mentally, physically abuse them like that by listening to this crazy whack show based on religion. In Utah. Isn't that something? Based on religion. It's just utterly disgusting. But anyway, I'm going to show you a video of Rudy, how she is saying in this video how she is basically the boss and how she dictates what her children do. And there's no ifs, buts about it. So take a listen to this crazy quack, Rudy, what she has to say.
In this home, You don't get personal space because this is my space because I'm the parent. If you want your own personal space, you'll need to get your own space. This is mine. And as long as you're living in my home, it is my job to know everything about you. You don't get to sneak, you don't get to hide, you don't get to have secrets. Not in my house. Do you see how loving that is? Now, if you're in distortion, you're reeling right now. If you're in distortion, you're ready to pull your hair out right now. You're ready to scream. So think about how
evil and demented is that? She's crazy, crazy. And I just want to give a shout out to Lilac Forever. Thank you so much for joining me live. Hopefully you come back live. And if you have any questions, please drop it on the comment. So thank you. Crazy, crazy. Now I'm going to show you a clip behind the scene, how she abused her older son and how he is reacting to his mother madness. So take a listen.
We would spank, whip, take the belt out and whip my butt, pull down my pants, whip me.
Chad, I've asked you to give me a night where it's enjoyable to be with you. Chad, take the look off your face and just be happy to be with us. Okay, you know what then?
I did always feel bad when he got in trouble. He'd get a bloody nose and I'd bring him, toilet paper and didn't really know what to do. He got beat really bad one time and I helped him clean blood off the walls.
Chad, it is your turn. Do you know where your name came from?
Grandpa?
Of course you know. Grandpa. So tell us who you're named after.
Grandpa.
Which grandpa? Okay, we're going to try this again. You be a little more talkative here.
See, as you can see, he don't want to film, okay? He doesn't want to be in front of the camera. What this boy wanted to do is just play. Chad just wanted to play. He just wanted to play. And for this mother to force his son to be, you know what I mean? It's just not right. Again, there should be laws passed that you should not force your child to be in front of the camera to do a blog video if they don't want to. Period.
I am. I'm talking, answering your questions.
Hey! If I hear one more word, get out!
Crazy.
If I'm going to let you vlog, and if I'm going to spend all my time helping you, you're going to help me too.
Again, he don't want to do it. He don't want to blog. That's your dream. That was your goal. And for her to speak to her son that way, you can look at Chad's face. He feels uncomfortable. Okay, he don't want to do this. You know what I mean? She wanted to do this. And if your son didn't want to do that, you just say, okay, no problem. Go and play with your siblings. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely cruel and disgusting that she's forcing her son to do this. And clearly he does not want to do it.
Be excited to tell him where your name came from, even if you have to fake it. Fake being happy. Okay?
I don't know if I can right now. I don't know why. It's just...
Okay. Well, I'm going to take a...
Looking back on it, I don't think...
Oh, sorry. So you can just tell what happened probably. She probably beat the living crap out of Chad. You know what I mean? He didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, he just lost interest. And that's okay. But it was not okay with her because she was probably, doing it for the sponsors. You know what I mean? Doing it for the sponsors. But anyway, I want to show you the last clipping of this. It's News Nation, and this reporter, and she's on YouTube too. I'm throwing a blank of her name, so forgive me. About the story of Jodi Hildebrandt about and Rudy, and about this whole a child abuse incident. But I just want to make it very clear. Kevin, Rudy's husband, he filed for a divorce, thank God, and he's no longer married to crazy unhinged Rudy, and he has full custody of his 4 younger children. Thank God, hallelujah. And Rudy has have no contact with the other 4 children. Okay, and that's good. I'm glad that he did the right thing by filing for divorce, and he has full custody of the 4 children. And now, and Rudy can no longer contact those 4 children because obviously they're a minor, and they just want to put this behind them. And who can blame them? Okay, they've been through an ordeal, all of them, all 6 of them. Okay, no child should go through that abuse for no reason at all. Okay, there's ways to discipline a child. Okay, there's the right way and the wrong way. And the wrong way is to not beat them to death, not to starve them, not to abuse them and tie them up, hellbound with duct tape, handcuffs, and all that stuff. That's not the way to discipline a child. That's abuse. And people should know the difference from abuse to discipline. And it seems like when you are twisted like Jodi and Rudy, and you're in a cult, you don't know what reality is. And that's what happened to the both of them. Okay, they had lost touch of reality, what they did to these children. Okay, they did. They're saying that God told them that, and God clearly would never ever say to harm your children. Okay, that's just their own twisted, demented mind. Okay, I believe the devil was talking to them. It was definitely not God, but in their mind, they thought that God was telling them that. But anyway, but this is the last video that I'm going to share with you before I talk about something else before I let you go, because I know I'm out of time and I know I'm past my time, but that's okay. So let's take a listen to this.
Currently planning to abandon Ruby's 2 youngest kids in the Arizona desert.
We're trying to kill them.
The documentary is called Evil Influencer, the Jodi Hildebrandt story. And in the doc are descriptions of Ruby Franke's journal entries. One in particular details a land purchase made by Jodi, a purchase of acres and acres of remote land. Ruby says, quote, escalation of the kids is not manageable here in Utah. She goes on to write, quote, they will think they got what they wanted. They will relax and then pop. We'll drop them like hot potatoes in the desert, end quote. The documentary also includes former clients of Hildebrandt's, people who came to her for counseling. She focused on LDS couples and families and reportedly used strategies of control, isolation, and guilt in her practice. But she also instilled in her clients a total dependence on who? Jodi Hildebrandt. The practice collapsed in August of 2023 when Franke's 12-year-old son escaped from Hildebrandt's home in southern Utah and fled to a neighbor for help. Child was emaciated and had deep infected wounds on his wrists and his ankles, wrapped in plastic and duct tape over honey and cayenne pepper. The child's injuries were so disturbing that the neighbor who opened the door broke down in tears in his 911 call.
Which you already heard that already, so I'm not going to have you listen to that again, but you get the gist of it. So I highly recommend that you watch that documentary on Netflix, and it's called Evil Influencer, the story of Jodi Hildebrandt, okay? And it's a very powerful documentary. It really broke me. And the whole point I'm recommending you guys to watch this is to recognize the signs when you being manipulated and when you draw into in a cult that you're not aware of. You thinking someone is helping you as a therapist or a life coach, and they shouldn't be doing that. Actually, they shouldn't be, trying to isolate you from your friends and family, trying to abuse your situation of your kindness. They shouldn't be doing that. That's not what therapists or a life coach do. They're supposed to be helping you, lifting you up, inspiring you to do better, to be better, not to break you down and pull away from people that you love and try to make you be an abuser and to abuse your kids or make it seem like you're crazy and you have some type of addiction problem. Okay, that's not how it works. So you should definitely recognize the signs, and when you see those red flags, run for the hill. Run for the hill, because it seems like those people are just not for you. Moving on to a lighter note, okay? So Spencer Pratt And anyone don't know who Spencer Pratt is, he's the guy that married Heidi Montag from The Hill. And he is running for mayor. As you can see, he is running for mayor in California. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because what happened last year with the brush fires and people lost their homes and lost everything. And the mayor right now, current mayor, Gavin Newsom, really didn't do anything. And also, what's the other woman's name? Oh, I can't remember her name. She was a bunch of nothing, actually. She didn't really do anything. She left. She fled, even though she knew about the wildfires, was about to happen. She left. I forgot her damn name. Anyway, and now it's 1 year later now, and Spencer, he's sick of it. He's sick of it, and now he's running for mayor. And I have to say, even though I don't live in California, thank God, but I think he'd be a good mayor, to be honest with you, because he's very, during the Hills, he was very ruthless and very calculated, and he's good with his words. And then him and his wife, they were on other reality shows too in the past and stuff like that. And, I'm just going to show you a clip of what he said, that he is going to run for mayor. And I'm like, you know what? I support it. I believe that he would be a good mayor. Hopefully he doesn't be corrupt, like Gavin Newsom. I mean? Again, I don't live in California, but if he does become mayor of California, I hope he meant what he said when he told the people what I'm about to show you, what he's going to do, what he wants to change and make it better. You know what I mean? Especially the communities in California, to make it better and not let the same cycle happen again and again when it comes to, natural disasters and stuff like that. So I hope he keeps his word and not be corrupt, because, once you're in government or you're in a politician or whatever, even though he's not a politician guy, he's a reality star or whatever. I just hope you don't get corrupt, because, people can be influenced with money and stuff like that. It will, take you to the next level if you do X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. So hopefully he stays grounded and he keeps his word to the American people in California. And so let's just take a listen to what Spencer Pratt had to say about him running for mayor in California. Take a listen.
Oh my gosh, I got more water coming out of my eyes than LADWP out in both our reservoirs. Oh my God. Here we go. I don't have this part of my speech, but I just seeing everybody here and, you want me to be louder, okay? I'll just go, here we go. There we go. I want everybody yelling at me anymore. Okay, well, I just want to thank everyone for being here. It's the first time I've been somewhere where I know everyone feels what I feel, because you go around every day, people go, oh, how are you? Oh yeah, the fire, da da da. But it's like, I know everyone standing here feels me. So I just want to thank God for giving us all the strength, because Amen. Honestly, I have more faith in this because you have to, because you think, why did this happen? Why is this happening? You got to believe there's a bigger reason. I got it. Otherwise, Amen. We're all happy. Okay, I'm here today to commemorate the 1 year anniversary of the worst day of my life. On January 7th, 2025, Heidi and I lost our home. We lost every material possession we owned. My parents lost their home too, and with it, decades of memories made inside those walls.
Oh, look at him.
I grew up in the Palisades. I moved through these streets thinking my two boys would grow up here just like I did, with that same hometown feeling. But then right before my eyes, the future I envisioned for my family burned to the ground. Standing here 1 year later, I have to tell you the most heartbreaking part of the past year wasn't being displaced or losing everything I own. It was the realization that all of this was preventable.
It sure was.
We are standing here amongst the ashes of our once beautiful town because the state and local leaders let us burn. Gavin Newsom and the state of California let brush grow wild in Topanga State Park for 50 years with no prescribed burns and no wildfire maintenance. Gavin Newsom and the state of California created an insurance market so hostile that every major carrier stopped writing policies and dropped our families and our neighbors just before the sparks flew here in the Palisades. Gavin Newsom and his state park policies actually literally dictated that we let the Palisades burn, and his park rangers put kindling over the smoldering embers of the January 1st Lockman fire, which would ultimately ignite the January 7th Palisades fire that burned 7,000 structures and took 12 lives. Janice Quinones and the LADWP left our reservoirs empty despite collecting a salary of $750,000 per year. The LAFD failed to deploy sufficient firefighters, fire engines, and firefighting resources, whether it be due to lack of budget, lack of knowledge, or simply DEI. And while our lives were literally burning to the ground, Mayor Karen Bass was in Ghana.
Right, thank you. That's what I wanted to mention. Karen Bass, she's another quack, another incompetent, okay? She left, and she knew there was going to be a natural disaster, and her ass took off. She should resign. Her and Gavin Newsom, okay? Both of them, yeah, Karen Bass. She's another one, okay? Another disgrace, okay? I don't know how these people make money and do what they're running California when they don't even do anything. Basically nothing. They get paid to do absolutely nothing. It's just crazy.
We all cope with loss differently. I coped with mine by eating burritos and putting every ounce of energy into uncovering the truth, and the dirty facts I've uncovered this year have completely blown me away. They have changed the way I view the world forever. I used to think my taxpayer dollars funded a functional city and a state government whose infrastructure and essential services would be there when I needed them. But I was completely naive. Our elected officials were warned for years about brush management, about the homeless crisis interrupting our fire safety, about our city's crumbling infrastructure, but they did nothing. They all stood by while our community became a tinderbox, and when the photo ops were done, they retreated into their office and buried fire victims in bureaucracy. Despite record-breaking cleanup by the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers, and despite nearly $4 billion in loans approved by the SBA, most fire victims cannot rebuild due to building permits and city regulations. This isn't just a political failure, it's a moral one.
Correct.
You know, I've spent a lot of my life in the public eye, and I've seen the games people play. I know the scripts they follow and the masks they wear, but this past year has stripped all that away. I've looked at my kids and my wife, I've looked at my family and my neighbors, and I have realized that the city I love is being managed into the ground by people who don't have the courage to actually lead.
Amen.
NGOs, nonprofits, and unions are running this town. Why do you think $100 million in fire aid money is missing? The system in Los Angeles isn't struggling, it's fundamentally broken. It is a machine designed to protect the people at the top and the friends they exchange favors with, while the rest of us drown in toxic smoke and ash. Business as usual is a death sentence for Los Angeles. And I'm done waiting for someone to take real action.
Come on, Spencer, tell them what you're going to do.
That's why I am running for mayor. And let me be clear, this just isn't a campaign. This is a mission. And we are going to expose the system. We are going into every dark corner of LA politics and disinfecting the city with our light.
Disinfect. that's it. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Even though I don't live in California, but I do support Spencer. So he has my support in Orlando, Florida, and I'm all for it. And if he's really serious, what he just said, good for him. Good for him. You know what I mean? Like what happened to these people at the Palisades brush fire, it was horrible. And I agree with him. It could have been all prevented and it wasn't. You know what I mean? People have lost their homes, childhood homes, celebrities have lost their homes. They lost everything. People have died from that fire. You know what I mean? It could have been all prevented, but Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, they did absolutely nothing to these American people in California. So I'm glad that, someone is stepping up and actually going to do something about it, because there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of corruption in California and everywhere as well. And, Spencer is right. It's all about money. It's about money to build money to these sick individuals' pockets and then have these people suffer. And that's just not right. People have lost their homes. People cannot build what they lost because of the permits, like he said, because they did it intentionally on purpose. You know what I mean? They know exactly what they're doing. And it has to stop. You know what I mean? We paying our tax-earned money, and then what are we showing for it? Absolutely nothing, you guys. Absolutely nothing. So I'm all for it. I never liked this Spencer Pratt from the reality show because I thought he was just so pompous, arrogant, and very, condescending. But he has grown. I see he has grown a lot, since he got married with Heidi, and they've been married for a very long time. He has two beautiful boys, so things has shifted for him. Things has changed. And you know what? Good for him. And you know what? I support what he's doing and the decision that he's going to make. And I hope he wins. I hope he goes with it all the way. And let's see what's going to happen. And I will keep you updated on that. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining me here online. I know I'm really over time, but that's okay. I'm having fun and enjoying doing this. But now I have to go feed my dog because he is looking at me like crazy. Like, are you done? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Because it is 5:21 and I am hungry. Like, he's just staring me down. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here live. Please drop a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate and love each and one of you for your support and your love. And I just could not do this without God, and obviously do this without you. And I will see you guys on the next live. Take care and God bless.